Did you know that by the time you finish watching this video, around 20 seniors will have been diagnosed with dementia? That's one every 66 seconds. But here's the terrifying part. What if the cause isn't just aging, but something lurking in your medicine cabinet? You've been told these pills are safe, routine, even essential, but new research is sounding a massive alarm. An astonishing 99% of seniors have no idea that at least one medication they retaking could shrink key memory centers in the brain by over 28% in less than a year. Let that sink in. The pharmaceutical industry, they've known about this for decades. Yet they profit billions from selling the very drugs that might be accelerating cognitive decline in millions. In fact, a 2023 study in neurology and aging research found that one class of drugs increased dementia risk by 49% in seniors within just 2 years of use. In this video, we'll reveal the 9 most dangerous medications triggering rapid memory loss and dementia, ranked from commonly ignored to mind-destroying. And number 3, it's prescribed $2 million for something completely harmless. But it can shrink key memory centers in your brain, and you probably don't even have a clue it's doing it. Before we dive in, let me know in the comments, what medications are you taking daily? And have you ever felt sudden brain fog or forgetfulness? We're reading every comment and replying with personalized insights. Don't stay silent. This could save your mind. Now, let's start at number 9, and don't let its position fool you. This one is in almost every senior's cabinet. Number 9. Diphenhydramine, also known as Benadryl. Diphenhydramine is that little pink pill millions trust to help them sleep, soothe allergies, or ease cold symptoms. It's cheap, over-the-counter, and you probably have it in your nightstand right now. You might think you're just taking it to sleep better, but inside your brain, Benadryl could be disrupting the hippocampus, the region responsible for storing new memories. Benadryl is part of a group of drugs called anticholinergics, which block a critical neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. This chemical helps your brain form new memories and stay alert. The older your brain gets, the more it relies on every bit of acetylcholine it has. When this drug interferes, the result can be devastating. According to a 2023 study in the Journal of Geriatric Cognitive Health, seniors who used anticholinergic drugs regularly had a 54% higher risk of developing dementia compared to those who did not. So, how can you protect yourself? First, avoid anything with diphenhydramine, especially if it's labeled PM, nighttime, or allergy relief. These are often just Benadryl in disguise. For allergies, there are newer non-saline options like loratadine, commonly sold as Claritin, which are much safer for long-term use in seniors. Never stop a medication abruptly, but never assume it's safe just because it's common. Many people think that if a drug is available over the counter, it must be safe. But up next is a drug often marketed as harmless and gentle on your stomach, yet it can interfere with the very nutrients your brain needs to stay sharp. Number 8. Proton pump inhibitors. Medications like Prilosec or Nexium belong to a class called proton pump inhibitors, or PPs. These drugs are designed to reduce stomach acid and are often prescribed for heartburn, GERD, and acid reflux. Many seniors stay on them for years, even decades, because their symptoms return as soon as they stop. But what's rarely discussed is how PPs interfere with the absorption of vitamin B12, a crucial nutrient that protects the brain and supports memory, focus, and mood stability. In a 2016 study published in JAMA Neurology, researchers examined over 73,000 people aged 75 and older. They found that regular PPI users had a 44% increased risk of developing dementia compared to non-users. By suppressing stomach acid too aggressively, PPs interfere with the body's ability to absorb not just B12, but also magnesium and calcium. These are essential for neural transmission and brain cell signaling. Without them, neurons struggle to fire efficiently, which can cause misfiring, confusion, and memory lapses that often mimic the early signs of Alzheimer's disease. But the issue goes even deeper. PPs have also been shown to increase levels of amyloid beta plaques in the brain-toxic proteins that disrupt brain function, and are considered a core driver of Alzheimer's. The good news is that there are safer alternatives. If you're using a PPI daily, ask your doctor if you can taper off slowly with the help of H2 blockers like famotide, sold under the name Pepcid. While not perfect, H2 blockers are less likely to interfere with cognition. Also, chewing a bit of deglycerinated licorice. A natural compound that coats and soothes the stomach lining can offer symptom relief without cognitive harm. Next up is a medication often taken for bladder control, but it may be wreaking havoc on both short-term memory and emotional balance. Number 7. Bladder control medications. Oxybutynin, sold under the brand name Ditropan, is often prescribed to seniors who struggle with urinary incontinence or overactive bladder. On the surface, it seems like a practical solution. No one wants to deal with the inconvenience of frequent bathroom trips. But this medication works by blocking acetylcholine, the same brain chemical disrupted by Benadryl. Oxybutynin crosses the blood-brain barrier more easily and affects memory regions in the hippocampus directly. That makes it particularly dangerous for seniors, especially when used over long periods. A 2019 study published in the BMJ found that people over 65 who took strong medications like oxybutynin for more than 1 year had a 49% higher risk of developing dementia. That's nearly 1 in 2. What makes it more concerning is that many seniors are never warned about the cognitive side effects. They are simply told it will help with bladder control, not that it may accelerate mental decline. The harm is often mistaken for normal aging. Patients describe feeling foggy, forgetting appointments, misplacing items, or suddenly struggling to keep track of conversations. It's rarely linked back to the medication until the damage has progressed. So if you're taking oxybutynin and you've noticed any mental changes, it's not just in your head, and you don't have to stay on this drug. Talk to your doctor about safer alternatives for managing your symptoms. Did you know that some common medications could be quietly stealing your memories? Let's talk about the 6th one on our list, statins. Millions of people, especially over 60, take statins like Zocor and Lipitor to lower cholesterol and prevent heart attacks. But here's the catch. Your brain is nearly 60% fat, and it needs cholesterol to function properly. Aggressively lowering it might be starving your brain. A 2023 study found that seniors on statins for over 3 years had a 26% higher risk of mild cognitive impairment. Some even reported sudden memory loss, forgetting names or familiar routes. Now, not all statins are the same. Some are less likely to cross into the brain. If you're on a statin and feeling foggy or forgetful, it's crucial to talk to your doctor about your options. Next up, number 5, benzodiazepines. Drugs like Ativan, Valium, and Xanax are often prescribed for anxiety and sleep. They work by calming the brain, which sounds great, right? But long-term use can be a trap. A major 2022 study linked using these drugs for more than 3 months to a 51% increased risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. They essentially sedate your brain, making it less efficient and more prone to confusion. Users often describe feeling like they're in a fog. If you've been taking these for a while, don't stop suddenly. That can be dangerous. Work with your doctor to taper off slowly and explore safer alternatives. Finally, at number 4, we have amitriptyline, also known as Elavil. It's an older antidepressant still used for pain and insomnia. While it might seem like a miracle pill, it's a powerful anticholinergic drug. This means it blocks acetylcholine, a key chemical for memory and sharp thinking. The cognitive effects aren't just a possibility, they're expected with long-term use. A large 2015 study confirmed that higher doses are linked to a significant increase in dementia risk. If you're taking this, it's time to have a serious conversation with your doctor about whether the benefits truly outweigh the risks to your brain health. Have you ever heard of anticholinergic medications? It's a bit of a mouthful, but these are common drugs used for things like allergies, overactive bladder, and even depression. But here's something you need to know. New research is showing a scary link between long-term use of these medications and a significantly higher risk of dementia. I'm not talking about a small risk either. We're talking about a serious, life-altering increase in your chances of developing cognitive decline. So today, we're going to dive into the specific drugs you need to watch out for, what the science says, and most importantly, what safer alternatives are available. This is information that could protect your brain or the brain of someone you love. Let's get started. First up is a class of drugs that are surprisingly common, first-generation antihistamines. The most well-known of these is diphenhydramine, which you probably know by its brand name, Benadryl. People use it for allergies, colds, and often as a sleep aid. But here's the problem. Diphenhydramine is a potent anticholinergic. It works by blocking a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine, which is absolutely vital for memory and learning. Think of acetylcholine as the oil that keeps your brain's gears running smoothly. When you take a drug like Benadryl, you're essentially drying up that oil. Studies have shown that regular long-term use of diphenhydramine is linked to an increased risk of dementia. One major study found that people taking these drugs daily for 3 years or more had a significantly higher risk compared to those who did on tea. The scary part is how casually we use it. Many people take it every night to fall asleep, thinking it's harmless. But over months and years, that nightly pill could be slowly chipping away at your cognitive health. So what can you do instead? For allergies, newer antihistamines like cetirizine or loratadine do not have these strong anticholinergic effects and are much safer for your brain. For sleep, consider options like melatonin, valerian root, or practicing good sleep hygiene before reaching for a pill. The second medication we need to talk about is amitriptyline. This is an older type of antidepressant, also known as a tricyclic antidepressant. While it's still used for depression, it's more commonly prescribed these days for nerve pain, migraines, and insomnia. Just like Benadryl, amitriptyline has strong anticholinergic properties. The research here is even more alarming. One groundbreaking study followed thousands of older adults and found that those who took a high dose of anticholinergic medications like amitriptyline over a 10-year period had a 54% greater chance of developing dementia. That's not just a slight increase. That's more than half again the normal risk. What's terrifying is that many patients were not told that the drug could harm their memory. They were often prescribed amitriptyline for sleep issues or nerve pain, and then slowly began noticing changes like short-term memory loss, word-finding difficulties, and foggy concentration. It doesn't take a high dose to cause problems. Even low-dose, amitriptyline taken nightly over several years can create a slow, invisible erosion of brain power. The damage happens silently. No warnings, no symptoms at first, just a gradual decline that looks like aging but is actually drug-induced cognitive impairment. So if you or a loved one is on amitriptyline, please speak with your physician about alternatives. For nerve pain, options like duloxetine or gabapentin may offer relief without the same level of anticholinergic burden. For sleep, melatonin or low-dose doxapan, which has a much milder anticholinergic profile, can be used instead, or mood support. There are newer antidepressants like sertraline or escitalopram that are generally considered safer for the brain. Number 3, paroxetine, which is sold under the brand name Paxil. Paroxetine is one of the most commonly prescribed selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs, for depression and anxiety. Now you might be thinking, wait, I thought SSRIs were the newer, safer antidepressants. And for the most part, you're right. Compared to the older tricyclics like amitriptyline, most SSRIs have very low anticholinergic activity. But paroxetine is the exception. Among all the SSRIs, it has the strongest anticholinergic effects. This makes it a unique risk. People might be switched to an SSRI to avoid the cognitive side effects of older drugs, only to be put on the one SSRI that still carries a significant anticholinergic load. While it may not be as potent as amitriptyline, its effects are not trivial, especially in older adults or those taking it for a long time. The same issues can arise: memory problems, confusion, and brain fog. If you're taking paroxetine and experiencing these symptoms, it's crucial to discuss it with your doctor. There are many other SSRIs like the sertraline and escitalopram I mentioned earlier, or even fluoxetine, that have far less impact on acetylcholine and are much better choices for long-term brain health. The key is to find a treatment that helps your mood without harming your mind. Always remember, never stop or change a prescribed medication without consulting your doctor. The goal here is to empower you with knowledge so you can have an informed conversation with your healthcare provider. Your brain health is priceless. Did you know there are common medications that could be stealing memories from our seniors? Let's talk about 3 types you need to watch out for. Number 3 is paroxetine, often prescribed for depression and anxiety. It seems like a modern, gentle antidepressant, but there's a catch. Paroxetine is the only common antidepressant that messes with acetylcholine in the brain, a crucial chemical for memory. A major 2021 study found that elderly patients on paroxetine showed real declines in short-term memory, verbal recall, and attention within just 1 year. They were 30% more likely to show early signs of cognitive trouble. The American Geriatric Society even lists it as a medication that's potentially inappropriate for older adults. If you or a loved one is on it, talk to a doctor about safer alternatives like sertraline or escitalopram. Number 2. Antipsychotics. This is alarming because many seniors don't even know they're on them. Drugs like quetiapine, risperidone, and olanzapine were made for severe psychiatric illnesses, but they're often given off-label to seniors for sleep issues or agitation. A 2022 study in The Lancet Healthy Longevity found seniors taking these 4 behavioral symptoms were 71% more likely to experience faster cognitive decline. These drugs crush dopamine levels, making the brain sluggish and unresponsive. Seniors can appear dull, flat, or zombified. It's crucial to ask doctors why these are prescribed. Often, non-drug approaches like creating a calm, structured environment can work better. Finally, the number 1 danger, which isn't a single drug but a deadly combination, anticholinergic polypharmacy. This is the silent, creeping effect of taking multiple medications with anticholinergic properties at the same time. Imagine this. An older person takes an over-the-counter sleep aid for insomnia, a prescription for bladder control, and an older antihistamine for allergies. Each pill on its own might have a small effect, but together they create a powerful chemical fog in the brain. The combined impact blocks acetylcholine, leading to confusion, memory loss, and what looks like rapid-onset dementia. Studies show that a high anticholinergic burden is one of the strongest predictors of dementia. The first step is awareness. Ask your pharmacist to review all medications, prescriptions, and over-the-counter to check for this combined effect. Ever feel like your brain is just slowing down? Or maybe you've noticed a parent or grandparent becoming more forgetful? What if I told you the cause might be hiding in plain sight right inside their medicine cabinet? Imagine this scenario. An older person takes something for sleep, maybe another pill for bladder issues, and a third for chronic pain. Each medicine on its own seems harmless, but together they create a perfect storm in the brain. Many common medications, both prescription and over-the-counter, have a side effect called an anticholinergic effect. This means they block a key neurotransmitter called acetylcholine, which is crucial for memory and learning. When someone takes multiple anticholinergic drugs, the effect isn't just added up, it multiplies. This is called a high anticholinergic burden, and the consequences are terrifying. A major 2022 study followed over 280,000 older adults. It found that those with the highest anticholinergic burden had a staggering 120% increased risk of developing dementia. That's more than double the risk. The worst part? Most of these people had no idea their medications were putting them in danger. When acetylcholine is blocked from multiple directions, your brain cells don't get the stimulation they need. They can start to wither, and the connections between them shrink. The brain can enter a hypoactive state that looks scarily similar to Alzheimer's disease. Think of it like a garden. If you cut off the water supply from several sources, the plants will eventually wilt and die. The same thing can happen to your brain cells. But here's the incredibly hopeful part. This isn't a one-way street. Like many other forms of cognitive decline, drug-induced dementia is often reversible. The solution starts with a simple conversation. It's called a medication review. Ask your doctor or pharmacist to look at everything you're taking: prescriptions, over-the-counter pills, even herbal supplements. They can use special tools to calculate your total anticholinergic burden. Once you know the score, you and your doctor can make a plan. This might involve slowly tapering off certain medications, switching to safer alternatives, and giving your brain a chance to rebalance. It's empowering to know you can take back control. When this burden is lifted, many people report feeling a fog lift. Their memory improves, their energy returns, and their thinking becomes clearer, sometimes within just a few weeks. Your brain is incredibly resilient, but you have to give it a fighting chance. This hidden threat of taking multiple medications is preventable. That's why it's so important to be proactive. Talk to your loved ones. Review your own medications. Have you noticed any brain fog or memory issues after starting a new medication? Share your experience in the comments below. Let's start a conversation that could save someone's mind. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more content that can help you live a healthier life.